The organizational meeting of the Pittsfield City Council is called to order. Good morning and Happy New Year to all of you. It is a privilege to welcome all of you here for this very special occasion. I am pleased to recognize our very special guests, Mayor Linda M. Tyre, Father Peter Gregory from St. Charles Church, Reverend Sheila Scholes Ross from the First Baptist Church, and the Eagles Band of Pittsfield. My name is Michelle Benjamin, and I am the City Clerk of Pittsfield. In accordance with the City Charter, I will conduct these proceedings until the City Council elects its president. At this time, please stand and join the City Council as they lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now have the pleasure of introducing the Eagles Band, who will perform 3 selections: March Patriotica by Stephen Bula, Simple Gifts by Douglas Court, and America the Beautiful by Samuel Ward, arranged by Michael Green. Thank you to the Eagles Band. That was a beautiful performance. At this time, I'd like to invite Father Gregory, who will now give the invocation for today's ceremony.
O Lord God, to whom nothing is new or strange, for you knowest all things, and so we ask for your gracious guidance and the responsibilities that are assumed of our ongoing Mayor, Linda Tyre, our City Clerk, Michelle Benjamin, our new members, 2 of our new members and 4 of the school committee, 4 members joining the 7 returning large council of the city. Grant us the grace to be faithful stewards of the talents entrusted to you. Providence in our care. Help us to apply ourselves in such a way that their work will be fruitful and pleasing to you, O Lord. Give them a sense of honesty and loyalty, and keep them mindful of the accounting that they must render in their good stewardship. Above all, give us a true sense of their vocation in all things. Keep them humble in the midst of their successes, cheerful in the face of failure, determined in spite of difficulties, and honest in our dealings. Bless their work and use them in their positions to be a blessing to others. Hear us, O God, for you are the real master, and we are your servants. Amen.
Thank you, Father. The next order of business is the administration of oath of office to the City Clerk. Will the Assistant City Clerk, Heather Brazo, please join me to administer the oath?
I, Michelle M. Benjamin,
I, Michelle M. Benjamin,
do solemnly swear
that
I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all of the duties incumbent upon me as the City Clerk for the City of Pittsfield, according to the best of my ability and understanding, and agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
and agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and the ordinances of the City of Pittsfield,
and the ordinances of the City of Pittsfield,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Heather. At this time, I will administer the oath of office to the members-elect of the Pittsfield School Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise and raise your right hand and repeat after me? I state your name.
I, William J. Cameron,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all of the duties incumbent upon me
all of the duties incumbent upon me
as a member of the School Committee for the City of Pittsfield,
as a member of the School Committee for the City of Pittsfield,
according to the best of my abilities and understandings,
according to the best of my ability and understanding,
and agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
and agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and the ordinances of the City of Pittsfield,
and the ordinances of the City of Pittsfield,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. At this time, if you'll please sign your oaths, and you can hand them to Heather and Beth.
Thank you.
The next order of business will be to administer the oath of office to the members-elect of the Pittsfield City Council. Ladies and gentlemen, if you please stand and raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Kevin G. Warren Jr.,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all of the duties incumbent upon me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as counselor for the City of Pittsfield,
as counselors for the City of Pittsfield,
according to the best of my abilities and understanding,
according to the best of my abilities and understanding,
and agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
and agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
Commonwealth,
and the ordinances of the City of Pittsfield,
and the ordinances of the City of Pittsfield,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, counselors. Please sign your oaths and hand them to Beth and Heather. In accordance with the city charter, the city council shall elect from its members a president. Are there any nominations?
I would like to elect Councilor Marchetti.
Do I have a second?
I second the nomination.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, nominations are now closed. Councilor Marchetti, do you accept this nomination?
I do.
Okay. With the acceptance of this nomination, the City Council will now take a roll call vote. The roll call will be conducted in alphabetical order by last name. Councilors, when I call your name, please state yes or no. Councilor Conant.
Yes.
Councilor Kalinowski.
Yes.
Councilor Cavey.
Yes.
Councilor Cronick.
Yes.
Councilor Lampiazzi.
Yes.
Councilor Mafuccio.
Yes.
Councilor Persip.
Yes.
Councilor Sherman.
Yes.
Councilor Warren.
Yes.
And Councilor White.
Yes.
I don't know if I actually said Counselor Marchetti. Counselor Marchetti.
Yes.
Thank you. Counselor Marchetti is now elected president. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Peter Marchetti,
I, Peter Marchetti,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform
all of the duties incumbent upon me
all of the duties incumbent upon me
as President of the City Council for the City of Pittsfield,
as President of the City Council for the City of Pittsfield,
according to the best of my abilities and understanding,
according to the best of my ability and understanding,
and agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
and agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and the ordinances of the City of Pittsfield,
and the ordinances of the City of Pittsfield,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, President Marchetti. President Marchetti will now preside over the remainder of this meeting.
In accordance with the city charter, the city council shall elect from its members a vice president. Are there any nominations?
I would like to nominate Councilor Peter White.
Is there a second?
I second.
Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Kevin Sherman.
Is there a second?
I second.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing or seeing none, nominations are now closed. Councilor White, do you accept?
I do.
Councilor Sherman, do you accept?
I do not. I appreciate it, but I do not. Thank you.
There only being one accepted nomination, City Council will call for a roll call vote. Please respond yes or no when she calls your name. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Counselor Conant, how do you vote?
Yes.
Counselor Kalinowski?
Yes.
Counselor Cavey?
Yes.
Counselor Chronic?
Yes.
Counselor Lampiazzi?
Yes.
Counselor Mafuccio?
Yes.
Counselor Marchetti?
Yes.
Counselor Persip?
Yes.
Counselor Sherman?
Yes.
Counselor Warren?
Yes.
Counselor White?
Yes.
Congratulations, Counselor White. Will you please rise to take your oath of office? Raise your right hand. I, Peter White,
I, Peter White,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform
all of the duties incumbent upon me
all of the duties incumbent upon me
as Vice President of the City Council for the City of Pittsfield,
as Vice President of the City Council for the City of Pittsfield,
according to the best of my ability and understanding,
according to the best of my ability and understanding,
and agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution
and agreeably to the regulations and rules of the Constitution
and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and the ordinances of the City of Pittsfield,
and the ordinances of the City of Pittsfield,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Peter.
Congratulations.
According to Rule 22 of the City Council Rules and Orders, the seats of the members of the City Council should be determined by a drawing. Councilor Sherman and Persip, please come up. Councilor Sherman, you will draw the seat number, and Councilor Persip, you will draw the names.
You're over here. We can switch. Yeah.
Number 10.
Councilor Lampiazzi.
Pick 'em up. Number 7.
Councilor Kalinowski.
Number 3.
Councilor Persip.
Number 2.
Councilor Marquetti.
Nope. 2 over.
Do over.
Councilor Cavey.
Number 5.
Councilor Conant.
Number 6.
Councilor Mafuccio.
Number 1.
Councilor White.
Number 8.
Councilor Sherman.
Number 4.
Councilor Warren.
And number 9.
Councilor Chronic.
Thank you both.
Thank you, councilors. Normally at this time we would switch seats, but we will hold that until our January 11th meeting. And when we do, I would ask that Councilor Mafuccio switch seats with Councilor White. So Councilor White would be in seat 6 and Councilor Mafuccio in seat 1. This time, I'd accept a motion from Vice President White to accept the City Council rules and orders as currently written, and they will remain in full force and effect until so time that we make any changes. Councilor White.
Motion to accept the rules?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? City Council rules are in effect. This time I'd like to introduce our distinguished guests that are with us today, starting with our Mayor, Linda Tyre. State Representative Tricia Farley-Bouvier. Former Mayor Sarah Hathaway. Former School Committee Chair Catherine Yan. Former Councilor Claremont. Former Councilor Kerwood. Superintendent of Schools Joe Curtis. And all the city department heads. I apologize if I missed anyone. It was kind of hectic watching people come in. This time I would like to give members of the school committee, the city council, and the city clerk an opportunity to introduce family members that may be here with them today. We'll start with our city clerk.
I would just like to thank my husband and my daughter and my mom and dad. Thank you for all being here.
Members of the school committee, we'll start with Vicki Smith. And you guys are going to need to move the microphones.
Could I just ask that you talk into the microphones? Thank you.
Is it on? Okay. So I have a very dear friend here, Connie Berg. Thank you for coming. My husband, Bob Sykes, was not able to come because of some COVID-related things, but he's doing well. Sorry he's not here to tell one of his corny jokes.
We'll just go down the line.
I just would like to extend my thanks to the entire community and especially to Beau Fair, who's been a supporter through the whole time.
Same. Thank you to the community. My only family is my dogs, and they couldn't make it today.
Thank you. I want to thank my Audrey, my brothers and sisters, and the people of the city of Pittsfield. Thank you.
I'd like to join school committee members McGee and Hathaway in thanking the community for being here today and for the honor of serving on this committee.
Thank you for the community for your support in the last election, and thank you for coming here today to be with us. And I especially appreciate my beautiful wife Heather for being here, the rock in my life. Thank you.
First, I'd like to thank the people of the city of Pittsfield for supporting us. I'd like to thank the department heads and city employees here, and also Pittsfield Community Television for airing this so our community can stay safe watching this at home, and BCC for hosting, and my treasurer, Esther Anderson, watching at home, and my mom, who is here, and my Aunt Pat. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the community for supporting me and getting me back to the city council. I'd also like to introduce my mother, Lola Carlopoli Warren, who's up in the back. She's with my sister, Katrina Kratka, and she's with my nephew, Jeremy, and his new fiancee, Brittany.
I want to thank my wife, Tammy, for being here today, my mother, Mary Ann, our friend, Cliff, and my dad, Tom, who are all here. My children, who are dutifully attending their studies at Pittsfield High School, are not here, but obviously the best to them. And at home watching, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my good friend and Ward 3 consigliere, Evie Ominia, who's watching us live. So thank you all very much.
I'd like to thank the community once again, and I'd like to thank my wife, Ashley, for being here today, and my daughter, Avery, watching at home with my mother. Thank you.
Councilor Koenig.
Thank you. I'd like to thank my family, my 3 children, Brian, Kimberly, and Joshua, watching at home. I'd like to thank my mom, Rosemary, for watching at home. And most of all, I'd like to thank my campaign manager, my wife, Lynn. Thank you so much, honey.
I'd like to thank everybody that voted me so I could come on the council. Also here is my mom, way in the back, some of my sisters, my best friend John, my campaign manager Roseanne, my sidekick Josiah, and my friend Tammy.
I'd like to thank PCTV for broadcasting this to everyone home. I'd like to thank all the department heads and city staff who's here today cheering us on. I'd like to thank my family, my mother, Tina Archambault, who's here, and my brother, Brendan Cavey, who's also here, and my coworker, William O'Brien. And I'd like to thank the community for your continued outpouring of support, all the residents in my ward and everyone else in the city. Thank you.
Councilor Chronic, I want to first of all extend my deep appreciation to my wife, Anne, who has been both my treasurer, and she has been a tireless supporter of my campaign. I want to and a dear friend, Marlene, who was supporting me and has apprised me of the great honor that I have by being selected to take this seat by my community in Ward 2. I want to support, and finally I want to give my great appreciation and thank you to Ward 2, who gave me the opportunity to represent them on City Council and who took the time to share with me their stories, challenged me on my positions, and in the end, allow me to have my place here. Thank you.
I'd like to thank my wife, Tara, for being here this afternoon. And I would also like to thank the many members of the community that I was able to meet with throughout the campaign and my last term. Thank you all for being here.
I'd like to thank all the residents of Ward 7 for your continued support. I'd like to thank my son Christopher, who's up here in the top. I'd like to thank all the citizens of Pittsfield coming together on this election. Thank all the department heads for being here and all the hard work and effort they put into everyday operations of the city of Pittsfield. And thanking PCTV for broadcasting this so all our family and friends in the community could be watching at home. Thank you.
I'd just like to thank the residents of Pittsfield for electing me to serve my 8th term. To the members of the City Council, thank you for your support and vote for Council President for the 4th term. Your vote is appreciated. I am confident that we can begin 2022 on a united and productive front and accomplish many great things. To the members of the school committee, congratulations and welcome aboard, looking to be your partner on the other side of the aisle. I'd like to acknowledge my partner of 20 years, who is home, unable to join us today, and his mother, Harriet, my parents in Clearwater Beach, Florida, watching, thanks to PCTV, and to my campaign manager, Sue Rock, and her husband, Mike. This time, the City Council has been organized. I would like to invite Mayor Tyre to the podium to give her inaugural address.
Morning. Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us to celebrate Pittsfield's 2022 inauguration and State of the City. We were blessed with a rousing performance by the Eagles Band, a perfect way for us to usher in today's ceremony and the new year. Let's look back for just 1 minute to January 6th, 2020, the date of our last inaugural ceremony. It seems like 100 years ago. We've all been through so much. At that time, though, we had no idea of the utter devastation and hardship that was to come in the weeks and months, and sadly, now years to come. COVID-19 totally upended our way of life, and as we know, the pandemic rages on. I'm especially grateful that Berkshire Community College opened its doors for today's ceremony, ensuring a safe and spacious environment for us to gather. I extend my thanks to President Kennedy and her team for their hospitality. Welcome to our distinguished guests. Congratulations, counselors. Your presence here today reflects the deep faith and trust that the people of Pittsfield have placed in each of you to do the work of moving our city forward. It is a great and honorable responsibility, and one that requires active and thoughtful engagement, a willingness to keep an open mind and open lines of communication. It is my hope that the newly elected members of the City Council, the returning veterans, will spend time getting to know me and the city's leadership team. We view ourselves as your partners, not your adversaries. Please join me in starting this new term with that mindset. Our future will serve as the historic record depicting how and when we were able to dig deep, to find common ground, and to embark upon solutions that will enrich and better the lives of our citizens, young and old. President Marchetti, congratulations on being elected once again by your colleagues to serve as president of the Pittsfield City Council. You and I have spent many years together, and I am honored by your friendship. I admire your commitment to our city, and I look forward to even more collaborative and productive work in the term ahead. Congratulations, Councilor White, on being chosen once again to serve as the Vice President of the Pittsfield City Council. Your consistent, thoughtful, and careful analysis speaks to the way in which you have embodied your leadership role. To my honorable friends on the school committee, congratulations. The work that we do matters a great deal to the children and families of Pittsfield. As we gather today, our number one priority is to do all that we can to keep our schools open so that our students are engaged in learning, enjoying extracurricular activities, and strengthening their social emotional well-being. In the midst of ongoing uncertainty, one thing is for sure. Our children deserve the best education. Our teachers and staff must have our support. It is our job to strengthen our school community by making smart and sound decisions. Congratulations, Madam Clerk. Once again, the people of Pittsfield have chosen you because throughout your tenure, you have demonstrated an unwavering commitment to maintaining and preserving Pittsfield's history. Your dedication to keen and judicious oversight of elections ensures an accessible and streamlined experience for voters and election outcomes that are built on absolute integrity. Today's inaugural address and State of the City will highlight accomplishments and challenges from the past year and set the stage for a year of promise and possibility, and we're ready. Looking back as we entered 2021, the public health data showed a significant and positive spike in cases. This was happening against a backdrop of persistent COVID fatigue, and it was discouraging, to say the least. I'd like you to join me now in taking a moment of silence as we honor and remember those that we loved and lost due to COVID-19. Thank you. And I just want to ask you one more thing. Mr. President, would you join me by standing? Would you all join me and stand for a moment? I would like us to take a moment and applaud the frontline workers who have kept us safe, protected us throughout this entire 2 years, and who will continue to serve and represent us and keep us safe in our community. Please join me. Many of them are not here today because they're busy protecting us. So when we looked back at 2021 and we saw what we were confronted by, It was discouraging to say the least, but there was a reason to be optimistic. A COVID-19 vaccine was on the horizon. The extraordinary teamwork put forth by the Berkshire Vaccine Collaborative, a county-wide endeavor that created the first vaccine collaboration of its kind in the state, meant that thousands of men, women, and children have been vaccinated right here at the Patterson Field House on the BCC campus. When boosters became available, 1,000 people immediately signed up for the vaccine and booster clinic that was held in mid-December. And it's not too late. Another clinic is scheduled for January 8th. On December 13th, we learned that we would receive over 11,000 at-home rapid test kits from the Baker-Polito administration. Our state partners in government, the governor, lieutenant governor, our state representatives, and our senator have never forgotten about Pittsfield. Through it all, they have been by our side. And this doesn't just happen. Over the last 6 years, my team and I have built a strong, productive network all throughout the state, and that benefits our city in countless ways. I am exceedingly grateful for their partnership and collaboration. Upon confirming this great news, that we would receive these free at-home test kits, I immediately convened the COVID-19 task force to discuss distribution. As usual, great and dedicated minds came together to create the most efficient way to get the free test kits into the hands of our most vulnerable residents. Sheriff Bowler and his team agreed to serve as the distribution center. The city's health department took the lead in connecting with our community agencies and making deliveries. In the first week of receiving the test kits, the health department distributed more than 5,000 at-home test kits to 17 organizations that serve the people of Pittsfield. Vulnerable residents now have another layer of protection against COVID-19. While COVID has and was the constant and persistent backdrop, it did not stop us from focusing on other ways to serve the people of Pittsfield, especially around economic assistance and recovery. In round 2 of the city's COVID-19 Small Business Recovery Grant Program, and in partnership with the Pittsfield Economic Revitalization Corporation, we assisted 35 small businesses with grant funding totaling $255,400. This critical funding helped our hardworking small businesses pay rent, utilities, payroll, and secure inventory. Since the inception of this grant program that I established at the height of the pandemic in 2020, the City of Pittsfield has awarded grant funding to 90 small businesses, totaling $935,000. While we supported many small businesses with pandemic relief funds, the Red Carpet team continued its work. With our proposal, supported by the City Council, funding from the Pittsfield Economic Development Fund will assist Hot Plate Brewery to move forward with the build-out of their new brewery and tap room in the Inauguration building on North Street. Last year, United Aircraft Technologies relocated to Pittsfield from Troy, New York, and moved into an office building on Newell Street with 5 employees. Today, they are already up to 14 employees with the expectation of creating even more jobs. And they are working with the city's business development manager to find an expansion location. A number of our long-standing Pittsfield businesses have seen growth as well. Modern Mold and Tool, John's Building Supply, and Hollowell EMC have all purchased or constructed new buildings to accommodate their growing business. And have you seen the remarkable transformation taking place at Bosque Mountain? Milltown Capital's purchase and redevelopment of the iconic Bosque Mountain would not have been possible without the City Council approving our plan and funding request for new water and sewer lines, including extra capacity in the system for future development along Dan Fox Drive. And now, this family-friendly outdoor recreation amenity will be here for generations to come. And though plans were delayed due to the pandemic in 2022, we can expect construction to begin on a $10 million, 77-room Holiday Inn Express on South Street. We are also putting focused attention on Site 9 in the William Stanley Business Park, the largest and most visible parcel. In March, the city was awarded an $880,000 mass development site readiness grant to begin phase 1 of site improvements. Pittsfield was one of 10 communities across the state to be selected for this competitive grant, and we received the largest award. This is a starting point, and we will draw upon every possible avenue and resource to revitalize this unsightly and unproductive 16-acre parcel, making it more appealing for future business development. And this matters too, because Site 9 is directly connected to the Morningside neighborhood. With the ongoing private investments underway all along Tyler Street, including housing, streetscape, and the city's first ever roundabout, there is a critical mass of investments, improvements, and activity happening in this historic neighborhood. And now let's add one more project to that list. After many long years of attempted negotiations, the city of Pittsfield has finally entered into a purchase and sale agreement for the blighted eyesore known to all as the Hess Station. Demolition of old structures will take place and the parcel will become a green space with an eye toward future development opportunities. And it can't happen soon enough, because also, and finally, this was the year that we saved the historic Tyler Street Fire Station. Work has already begun on the restoration and development of 4 market-rate housing units by an experienced and valued development partner, CT Management. This is exactly the kind of deliberate, comprehensive, and robust transformation that is needed to ensure the liveliness of this historic neighborhood. Last summer, when we learned that the city of Pittsfield would receive $40 million from the American Rescue Plan Act, I have to be honest, I didn't believe it was real. So we checked and double-checked and triple-checked and finally confirmed that it was indeed real money. That's when the excitement and the optimism set in and we got to work. This once-in-a-lifetime infusion of funds has the potential to do so much good in our community for both present and future generations. Recognizing that the funds must be obligated by December 31st, 2024 and completely expended by December 31st, 2026, there's no time to waste. But first things first, we needed to hear from the community. My brilliant and dedicated team and I created a community survey, and we held 4 community forums centering on public health and human services, economic recovery, housing and neighborhoods, and cultural organizations. Each session was well attended, and this input, coupled with the 1,200 survey responses that we received, helped to establish a baseline for understanding the needs of our residents. To learn even more, we recently held 4 community stakeholder meetings to engage directly with our community partners who are providing vital assistance, care, and support to the most vulnerable people in our city. Building upon these efforts, I established the Mayor's Advisory Council, a 9-member group that has been thoughtful and diligent in their service and participation. Their contributions have greatly enriched the process, and we are eager to continue engaging with the Advisory Council in the months ahead. First-round investments from the American Rescue Plan include funding for the YMCA to expand their child care programs, improvements to the city's drinking water infrastructure at the Ashley Reservoir, closing the funding gap for the development of the homeless shelter at the First United Methodist Church, air quality improvements to the city's fire stations, and upgrading sidewalks throughout Morningside and Westside. Later this month, we will issue an invitation to apply for the second round of ARPA investments. We are anxious and curious to see how Pittsfield's community partners and residents have reimagined their future. While we have $40 million in local funds, we are also keeping our eye on the state's American Rescue Plan funds. With the help of our state representatives, Tricia Farley-Bouvier and Paul Mark, and our state senator, Adam Hines, the city has already received our first early commitment of $200,000 to undertake a public school master planning process. With this master plan, we will have established a framework to guide our future decisions and investments in our schools, with special emphasis on Crosby, Conti, and Morningside and the surrounding neighborhoods. A master plan is essential because we know that our community tells a story. Robust neighborhood engagement will be an essential element of this study, along with talking to families and staff and teachers and students. Many factors will be considered during the development of this master plan. There's more to come. In the meantime, though, we will make investments in our school buildings using the American Rescue Plan funds. The final designs are in for new heating and ventilation systems at both Pittsfield High School and Reed Middle School. In addition to these important undertakings, our school superintendent, Joseph Curtis, has laid out an ambitious plan for the future of our schools. Following an equity audit, an equity task force has been created to provide guidance on how to dismantle inequities that exist in our schools. School leadership is currently engaged in a school safety study to examine ways to ensure that all students feel safe and protected at school. In November, Congress passed the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act to rebuild America's roads, bridges, and rail, to expand access to clean drinking water, ensure that every American has access to high-speed internet, tackle the climate crisis, advance environmental justice, and invest in communities. Along with the American Rescue Plan, the Infrastructure and Jobs Act will provide Pittsfield with significant opportunities to design a city for the future. In the first half of 2022, my team and I will prepare for these opportunities by studying the elements of the infrastructure bill, advancing shovel-ready projects for Pittsfield's roads and bridges, and exploring with school leadership the possibility of converting our school bus fleet from gas to electric vehicles. In October, I, along with members of the community development team, stood alongside Pittsfield resident Barbara Skalski in front of her home. There, I delivered an update on the At Home in Pittsfield program. It is one of my administration's signature initiatives, and it was supported by the City Council. Thank you. At Home in Pittsfield is designed to assist residents who do not have access to traditional financing for exterior home repairs. At the end of September, 19 homeowners were approved for funding, and 10 are located in the West Side and Morningside. Barbara is one of those homeowners. At the announcement, she said, "I don't want my home to fall apart, and without this program, I would not have been able to repair it." This is exactly why I created At Home in Pittsfield. When these investments are made, we stem the tide of deterioration, dismantle barriers that stand in the way of improving the homes of the people of our city, especially our under-resourced neighbors, and we help to close the wealth gap. There are so many residents like Barbara that we can help. Therefore, I have allocated an additional $1 million from the city's American Rescue Plan Act, bringing At Home in Pittsfield's total investment to our residents to $1.5 million. Progress has been slow and somewhat painful, but we will not give up on our goal of building a new police station and a new training tower for the Pittsfield Fire Department. Funding challenges exist. Locations are limited. Questions persist about new construction or renovation of existing spaces. The one thing that we know for sure is that the current police station and the training tower for the fire department have long outlived their usefulness. And in the police station, with each passing day, that facility becomes more and more deteriorated and unsafe. For example, recent flooding resulted in fast-growing mold that damaged equipment and supplies and created an unhealthy work environment. Now, we talked a moment ago about the infrastructure plan from Congress and how it was going to help us advance broadband to our communities. Well, we're not waiting. Here in Pittsfield, we're not waiting because a couple of weeks ago, we welcomed Lieutenant Governor Polito and Secretary Wood to City Hall for a Community Compact IT grant announcement. Joining us were other communities from around the region, $99,000 was awarded to Pittsfield, the highest amount awarded, for the creation of a free public Wi-Fi network to boost internet access and equity in our downtown, in Morningside, and in the West Side. Our future depends on these innovative solutions to bridge the digital divide. In 2021, after it was approved by the City Council, I proudly signed an ordinance officially establishing the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion as a new department in the City of Pittsfield. The creation of the office was one of several recommendations and findings produced by a study group that I had commissioned. The study group was tasked with providing recommendations on how to enhance diversity, equity, and inclusion in the areas of recruitment and retention, leadership and career development, cultural competency training, strategic planning, compliance, advocacy, and education. The diversity statement written into the new ordinance states that the city recognizes its position of power and privilege and the influence of its actions on our community. The city is committed to recognizing, valuing, and responding to the needs of a wide range of individuals who look to us for assistance, such as language, sexual orientation, race, class, gender, and ability. In order to provide effective service, every city employee must understand how to respectfully interact with each other and with every community member. By constantly learning about our community, evaluating our work, and adapting our approach to ensure that we continue to deliver quality services, we will create an inclusive and safe community where all people are empowered to live, work, and play, where individuals are respected and valued for their unique contributions. This ordinance, along with the Pittsfield Public School policy, is essential to our equity work. And in 2022, I look forward to selecting, along with Superintendent Curtis, the city and the school's first ever Chief Diversity Officers. In closing, the trials and tribulations of COVID-19 have made us stronger than ever. Pittsfield has a renewed fighting spirit that is shaped by strong partnerships, willing collaborations, teamwork, and sheer determination. Over the past 2 years, there were no egos here. People from all walks of life and diverse organizations came forward, raised their hand, said things like, "I'll do it," and "I can help." Building upon these powerful networks, we welcome the new year and the new term. 2022 is filled with promise and possibility, and together, we are ready for good things to happen. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councilors, I'm just going to pass out a little form that has the 6 city council subcommittees on it. If you could put your name on it and rate the subcommittees 1 to 6, 1 being the most priority for you, so I can set the committee assignments by our next meeting. This time it's my honor to introduce the Reverend Sheila Scholes Ross from the First Baptist Church to provide us with the benediction.
Please stand as you are able. We have heard about promise and possibilities. And let us make sure that within the promise and the possibilities, there always will remain hope, peace, joy, and love. To the public officials, it is an honor for you to serve this wonderful community of Pittsfield. But community, we have a responsibility to support, challenge, confront when you don't do your job. But community, we have the responsibility to make sure that they receive the support from us in order to do their job. So with that, as I offer the benediction, when I say respond, I need you to say, let it be so. Let it be so. To our public officials, may you work hard within the realm of promise and possibilities. And let us encourage you in your endeavors. You will respond, let it be so. As a community, we vow to support you in all that we can do. We will respond, let it be so. And when you call upon us to work with you, let us respond as community in promise and possibilities. Let it be so. And with that, may the peace, hope, joy, and love in the realm of promise and possibilities, let it be so. You may be seated.
This concludes the inaugural ceremony and organizational meeting. Vice President White, may I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
The motion to adjourn. All those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
We are adjourned.